Hi, everyone, and welcome to English for You. My name is Joe.
And I'm Mike.
There you go. You had to think about that for a minute.
I did, because we don't have a camera, so I don't know what I look like.
Oh, okay. You didn't see yourself.
No, exactly.
Okay. I can understand your confusion.
Yes.
Well, today we're talking about a place that can be confusing and cold and dangerous. It's
Absolutely.
a place called Alaska. If you don't know where it is, it's part of the United States, but it's actually north of Canada.
Yeah, it should be part of Canada.
We wish it was. Well, it's got lots of oil, so...
That's true.
We could use that.
As a Canadian, I was thinking Alaska's just more snow and bears, and we have a lot
snow
of that.
And bears.
But you're right, they do have oil up there.
And mountains.
It's been part of America for... How long now? More than 100 years.
They bought
it from Russia.
Yes, they bought it.
For like $8 million.
It wasn't that expensive.
No, it was a very good deal.
There are Manhattan apartments that cost more than Alaska cost to buy.
That's right. But it is one of the 50 states of America. So even though it's not attached to America, it's joined to Canada, it is actually an American state. And it's a very popular state these days. You see it on television a lot.
That's right. There are a lot of shows, and we're going to be talking about one of them.
Oh, another one?
Another show about Alaska and the people who live there and live very interesting lives in the wilds of Alaska. The show is called The Last Alaskans, and we're going to talk about it right now.
Reading The Last Alaskans. In northeast Alaska, there is a massive area of wild land with almost no humans. This area is the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. The U.S. government only allows 7 cabins in the area. Once the people who live there all die, no one will be allowed to build in the refuge. These people are also the focus of Discovery's show, The Last Alaskans. Heimo Korth has lived in the refuge for 40 years. He says every day is an adventure. The show begins by following him in September as he's hunting caribou. He has to know exactly where to find them if he hopes to be successful. To make things worse, he has to worry about finding bears in the area. On one episode, Heimo heads out onto the plains near his home to hunt. He's found many caribou there before, but today there are none. He can only hope that this cloud has a silver lining and that he will find food soon.
The article starts off today by saying in northeast Alaska, there is a massive area of wild land with almost no humans.
Wow.
So we're not just talking about Alaska, we're talking about northeast Alaska, where there are very few people. The state itself doesn't have very many people, but as you go farther and farther north towards the Arctic or the North Pole, there's even less people than there is in the south. We're talking about a massive area. Massive just means huge. It's very, very big. And the land is described as being wild. If a place is wild, it means there aren't people around. There's mostly just animals and nature. It's hard to survive. It's perhaps dangerous. And it says there's almost no humans. So there's not a lot of people around. You're more likely to see a bird or a bear or a wolf than you are a person.
So are you saying there are no 7-Elevens?
I guess there's probably no 7-Elevens. There might not be a McDonald's if you want a hamburger.
I could live without a McDonald's, but without a 7-Eleven, I would die.
Yeah, I don't know how you pay your phone bill.
I just have to curl up under a tree and wait to die.
So Alaska is not for you.
No, I'm not really into the wild areas. I like, a bed and air conditioning and things like that.
You like convenience.
I do. I like my comforts. But anyways, it is a beautiful part of the world. And as the article says next, this area is the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. Okay, refuge is a great word when we're talking about things that we want to keep safe. A refuge is a safe place. All right, so for example, we're often told in an earthquake, a bathroom is a good refuge. It doesn't have many windows. It might be one of the safest rooms in a building. So if you feel a big earthquake, maybe run to a bathroom or stand in a doorway. These are safe places. We can also talk about nature refuges or wildlife refuge as they've used it here. And that's basically one of those big national parks that the government makes. They set aside that land to protect the animals that might be hurt if they don't stay in the refuge. And I believe like down in Kending, right? Kending National Park is a wildlife refuge. There's certain kinds of birds and butterflies and animals down there that are protected in a safe place or a refuge.
So that's what this place is. It's a safe place for animals, so they would control hunting and things like that.
And you can't build big hotels in there.
You couldn't build a big resort that's going to harm the environment.
Or dig for oil.
That's right. Although some politicians are trying to make that happen, but they can't do it there right now because it is a refuge. Well, the U.S. government only allows 7 cabins in the area.
Wow.
So this goes back to what you were talking about. Not only are there no hotels, there's only 7 cabins there. A cabin is a small home that you build out in the woods or some other isolated area, possibly by a lake or something. It's a small home that's out in nature. It's not something you would find in a town or a city. And we're talking about the U.S. government. The government are the politicians that run a country. The government is the president, vice president, all the cabinet ministers, the members of Congress, the members of the Senate. These are all members of the government, and they make the rules. They say what you can do and what you can't do. They make the laws of the country and the state. And they said there can only be 7 cabins in this whole huge, massive area of the state. So that gives you an idea of how few people there actually are in this area.
But that makes it nice and peaceful for all the bears and other animals that want to live there in the refuge. So it says once the people who live there all die, no one will be allowed to build in the refuge. Oh, very interesting. So I guess there were already a few people living there. Then the government said, right, this is going to become a refuge. And the people who lived there said, but we don't want to move. And the government said, well, you can stay there, but after you die, after you sell your home and leave or whatever, no one else can move in. So that's a nice idea. It protects the people who live there, but keeps it safe for the future of the animals. These people, so these 7 people, or at least the people who live in this area, the very few people, are the focus of Discovery's new show, The Last Alaskan. So there we have it. So people aren't leaving Alaska, but people are leaving this refuge. So that's why it's called The Last Alaskans. Let's meet one of them. It says Haimo Korth has lived in the refuge for 40 years. Wow, that's a long time. And he says every day is an adventure. I imagine it is. An adventure is an exciting, thrilling, possibly slightly dangerous experience that you might have. We often talk about traveling to new countries as an adventure. Or you and your friends might go hiking up in the mountains and discover a waterfall that no one's ever found, and that would be an adventure. Whatever it is you're doing, if it's exciting, if it's thrilling, if it's special, if it's something that you'll really remember and tell all your friends about, that probably was an adventure.
All right, let's find out some more about the day-to-day life of Haimo Korth. Let's find out what he does.
Well, he doesn't go to the 7-Eleven.
He doesn't go to the 7-Eleven, no.
So what does he do?
What he does, the show begins, it says, by following him in September as he's hunting caribou. Yes.
Ah, the noble caribou.
Of course, you can't just go to the supermarket to get your food. You have to hunt it and kill it yourself. You have to get your own meat, your own vegetables, your own everything. So he's hunting caribou. Caribou are creatures.
Reindeer.
They're like reindeer.
Basically.
Sometimes we say reindeer. Sometimes we say caribou. They have elk. They have antlers. They have antlers on their head. They kind of look like a deer, I guess, in a way, but the antlers are a little bit different.
They're lunch for bears.
Yes, bears love a good caribou, and so does Haimo Korth. So it's September. that is the hunting season for caribou, so he's out there on the hunting trail.
Wow, and I guess that food that he hunts at that time, the caribou he kills, he eats that all through the winter. That's pretty impressive. He has to know exactly where to find them if he hopes to be successful. Yes, caribou will not just stand there waiting for you to shoot them. It's not a supermarket where you go to the caribou section and there's always caribou there. You have to find them, and they move around. These are animals that move around eating leaves from trees and grasses all over this massive wildlife refuge. So he has to sort of think like a caribou if he wants to be successful. If you are successful, this adjective means you've done what you tried to do. You had a goal, you had an objective, you set out to do it, and you did it. Well done. You were successful.
To make things worse, he has to worry about finding bears in the area. Yes,
See?
We've talked a lot about bears already, and they can be dangerous.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll just leave you alone, but if
other times they'll just eat your face.
Yeah, sometimes they will eat your face. If you get in between, in particular, like a mother grizzly and her cubs.
Never, ever do that.
Then you are in big trouble. We start off this sentence with the phrase, to make things worse. We often say make things or make matters worse when we're describing a situation in which it is deteriorating, in which the bad things are starting to happen and more bad things are coming later on. So he not only has to worry about hunting successfully, he has to worry about staying out of the way of the bears in the area, who are probably hunting caribou as well.
True. Very good point. On one episode, Haimo heads out onto the plains near his home to hunt. Okay, so shows like this are made up of many different shows. You might have 12 shows in one season or 1 year, but one of those shows we can also call an episode, all right? So if you watch the show where something happened, everyone would say, hey, did you see that episode? Not the whole show. Have you ever seen it one time? Well, maybe if you have, you only watched it for 30 minutes or 1 hour. That would be one episode or one showing of this television series. So in one of these shows, in one of the episodes of this Alaskans, I have trouble saying that word, television show, Haimo heads out onto the plains. When you head out, basically you just leave. You go away from somewhere. You head out to work or school in the morning, or you head out to go home at the end of your day. So he leaves his home, he leaves his cabin, or heads out onto the plains near his home to hunt. And yes, if you're looking for animal like caribou or buffalo or something like that, the plains is a good place to start because there are no trees on the plain. The plain is flat, rolling grassland. Great place to make a farm, a bad place to find a bird, because one of the ideas of a plain is it's very, very wide open. It's not a forest. In fact, it's almost the opposite of a forest. Whereas a forest has many trees, a plain is just flat grassland.
Now, he's found many caribou there before, but today there are none. So he's up against some trouble here. He's found them there before, so he went back thinking, hey, there should be more caribou there today, but there are none. There are zero. And he can only hope that this cloud has a silver lining and that he will find food soon. We talk about bad situations sometimes. We compare them to weather. Sometimes we say a bad situation is like a dark cloud. It's like a rain cloud hanging over your head. But we also have this idiom. We say like every dark cloud has a silver lining. That just means every bad situation has some good in it because, the dark cloud might look kind of ugly, but the silver lining around it looks kind of pretty. You can see some light there from the sun behind it. So that's why we have this idiom, the silver lining. A cloud has a silver lining. That's our shortcut for you for today. So let's take a moment to learn some more about this phrase.
Shortcut for you.
Hi, Vina. Thanks for coming to see me in the hospital.
Hi, Pat. You're looking well, even though you don't have any legs now.
Thanks. Yeah, it'll be strange living without legs, but every cloud has a silver lining.
Clouds? But it's really sunny outside.
We use the phrase silver lining to talk about something comforting that provides hope in an unhappy situation.
Oh, I see. Silver lining means 困境中的一丝希望或是光明面。
That's right. It's often used in the old saying, every cloud has a silver lining, meaning that the sun is behind the clouds now and will come out again soon.
Oh, I get it. But what's the silver lining of having no legs?
Well, I don't have my real legs, but I have these great new robot legs. Check them out!
Wow, you're like a machine.
Yep, I'll paint them silver and call them my silver linings.
That was our shortcut for you, all about a cloud having a silver lining. Remember, that's used to describe a bad situation that has some good in it. So, we have our hunter. Haimo is out there looking for caribou, but he's got none. It's September and winter is coming, so this could be bad. If you don't have food for the winter, animals go away in the winter.
That's true.
They're hard to find. Even the bears go to sleep. They hibernate for the winter, so Haimo could be up against it here. We're going to find out what happens to him and other members, other people who are on this show, The Last Alaskans, in our next program. Before we leave you, though, let's go to our For You chat.
For You chat.
Today we've been talking about one of the last Alaskans living way up in northeastern Alaska, where there are very few people, only 7 cabins, in fact, so maybe there's like between 7 and 14 people up there, 2 people a cabin, 1 person a cabin.
And they probably live, 20, 40, 50, 100 miles away from each other.
Yeah, there's no going to your neighbors for a cup of sugar unless you want to travel for a week.
Travel for 2 days.
Basically.
At least, yeah.
So, living in nature can be beautiful, but I guess it's kind of lonely. And Mike, I know you're not really a nature guy, but
I like the city.
You like the city. You like the city life.
Conveniences, yeah.
But if you had to choose, what kind of natural place would you like to live in and why?
That's a good question. I'm kind of partial to the ocean. I think a place near the sea would be great. I'm more of an ocean guy than a mountain guy, but not like a beach, not like a hot beach in Bali or Thailand. Maybe somewhere on the Atlantic coast of Canada would be nice. Or
what about the rising sea levels?
Well, maybe
You're going to buy a beachfront property and then it's going to be underwater in 10 years.
Can I buy it on a hill?
On a hill.
Yes.
That would be smart.
Okay, so I'll have a hill. It'll be a 5-minute walk to the beach, but then in 10 years, it'll be a 2-minute walk to the beach.
It'll be beachfront.
And then when I'm really old, I'll just step outside and swim off.
Swim away into the sea.
There you go. But I like the beach. I like the ocean, the sound of the waves, the salt spray in my teeth, that kind of thing. How about you?
I would like to go up into the mountains, maybe. I like the quiet. I like the solitude. I find mountains quite beautiful.
The hiking?
The hiking is fun. If there's a place with some snow, I could do some skiing or some snowboarding.
Okay.
Until I'm too old to do that. But I think the mountains would be good. The sea would be good as well. There are lots of isolated places where if you want to, you can get away from it all and live in nature. You guys can talk about this amongst yourselves. As for Mike and myself, we're out of time. So until the next episode of English for You, I'm Joe.
And I'm Mike.
Goodbye.
The Last Alaskans. In northeast Alaska, there is a massive area of wild land with almost no humans. This area is the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. The U.S. government only allows 7 cabins in the area. Once the people who live there all die, no one will be allowed to build in the refuge. These people are also the focus of Discovery's show, The Last Alaskans. Haimo Korth has lived in the refuge for 40 years. He says every day is an adventure. The show begins by following him in September as he's hunting caribou. He has to know exactly where to find them if he hopes to be successful. To make things worse, he has to worry about finding bears in the area. On one episode, Haimo heads out onto the plains near his home to hunt. He's found many caribou there before, but today there are none. He can only hope that this cloud has a silver lining. and that he will find food soon.
Vocabulary Review.
Wild. Nobody lives in this wild place. It's full of forests and animals instead. Government. This country's government listens carefully to what its people want. Cabin. We hiked all day and then went back to our cabin for the night. Adventure. Andy went on an adventure to find a missing city in the jungle. Successful. The businessman is very successful. He has made a lot of money over the years. Plain. Lions live on the plains of Africa, where they hunt other animals.